Hi, I'm Joni Patry, and welcome to my YouTube channel. Well, today I want to talk about an extraordinarily unusual configuration of planets. I mean, I keep saying I haven't seen anything like this before, but I really haven't seen anything like this in, I can't even remember. So maybe it's been out there many years ago, but I haven't seen this in the recent past. For a long time, I have seen a lot of yods forming in the sky, but not this many. I have seen that, like it was, around October of 2023 when there was the terrible attack in Israel. That was a time in September, right before that I saw an amazing amount of yods. But this time, it's astounding. So I'm going to show you what I'm seeing in the sky. Together we're going to analyze this and figure out what to expect. But before I do, I want to remind everyone to sign up for my free newsletter. Go to galacticcenter.org and you will get all my predictions weekly delivered to your email free. And while you're there at galacticcenter.org, remember to check out my Patreon. If you want to talk to me live every week in our Shooting Stars class, join Patreon. So many other things. You get our magazine. You even get put into a drawing for a free reading with me. Many things. So many things. Go check it out. And the last thing, well, not the last thing, but the Galactic Planner is something that you're going to want to have. If you want to be guided by the stars daily from your own personal birth chart, you'll want to try this out. Go to galacticplanner.com. And lastly, if you want to study with me, if this is something that is so compelling and you love astrology, you're going to want to join my school. Go to universityofvedicastrology.com. Now, here is what I want to point out. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put up the chart for the September solar eclipse that happens on the 21st. And I want you to see what I'm talking about. Now, a yod is said to be the finger of God. And what it involves are sextiles, which are 3 signs from each other. It's not that difficult. As well as quincunxes, which are going to be 6 and 8 signs from one another. But I'm going to make this really simple because these configurations are life-changing when you have them. There's a focal point of a planet, and in this case, we have the focal point being Neptune, a focal point being Mars, as well as a focal point being Venus. But the thing that's making this so long-standing and why we keep having these unusual aspects is because of where Pluto and Neptune, Saturn sit from each other, and Uranus. So remember, the 3 outer planets are the planets that really do dictate the general consciousness, just the mass consciousness on the planet at the time. And they are situated in positions that are causing these very unusual configurations, which cause very unusual events on planet Earth. They really and truly do. So, looking at this chart, draw a line from where Neptune is to Uranus. That is 3 signs away. And then if you go to where Mars is, Mars sits at 5 degrees of Libra. I'm going to show you another chart where it's exact. It sits in a 6-8 relationship. So counting from Uranus, always counting clockwise, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, that's a quincunx. Then when you count from Mars to where Neptune and Saturn are, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. See, that's 2. That's what a yod is. 2 quincunxes and two planets that are 3 signs away, which in Western astrology we call the sextile. But this is called the finger of God. So we're looking at the Neptune, Saturn, 2 Uranus, and Mars. Causes a Yod. Now let's go to where Saturn, Neptune, and count. Well, first let's go to Pluto. Count to where Saturn and Neptune are. 1, 2, 3. That's a sextile. And then if you go to where Venus is, you're going to find that Venus sits 6 placements away from the Saturn, Neptune, as well as the Pluto. So that's another Yod, with Venus being at the fulcrum point. And the next, when we look to, let's see, yes, the Saturn, Neptune, they are in a 6-8 relationship to where Mars is, as well as to where Venus is. So the Mars-Venus are 3 signs from each other, 1, 2, 3. And their fulcrum point is the Saturn-Neptune. That is 3 Yods forming. That means something around the corner will be life-changing on planet Earth. This means it's a certain destiny that cannot be averted. Now, let me put up the next chart, which is only a few days later, 3 days later. I'm looking at September 24th. Now, I will name this date as critical, but it seems like astrologically they don't have to be exact. But on this day, the transits are exact. But it always seems to happen around these days. That's been my reality in my 45 years of astrology. It doesn't happen on that day, but happens around that time. And here is what I see. Look where Mars is. Now on this day, Mars is exactly 7 degrees, which is 6 signs away. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, Uranus. 6 signs away from Uranus. And if you count from Mars back to where the Saturn, Neptune, particularly Neptune sits at 6 degrees 30 minutes, which is 30 minutes from being 7 degrees. So it's less than a degree to be exact. So this is pretty exact. So we're having Neptune, Uranus are in the 3 relationship, which is a sextile, and they're both the focal point. Both of them are quincunx Mars. Mars is the planet of causing events. It's the triggering point. Mars is at that trigger. It initiates something big. And I want to show you something else. Pluto, of course, sits at 7 degrees. So Pluto is forming a square with Mars squaring Pluto forward. Mars is 7 and Pluto is 7. They are in a square. Now, of course, Pluto and Uranus are in a trine. There's so much going on this day. And that connects those 2 planets that represent major vibrational elevation and change. Maybe there's going to be an event that blows up something, and this will create long-standing change and transformation that has been so well needed on the planet. So this is a turning point around this day. It will be. And to think, really and truly, with the Pluto and the Saturn Neptune, they're also, like a few days before, forming that exact quincunx or that exact Yod to Venus. But this day, Mars is squaring Pluto, and that is dangerous. That is dangerous. And Mars is at 7, Pluto is 7. So that can be some kind of attack or blow up or something around this time. Now, The other thing that stands out is that the sun is also 7 degrees on this day, meaning Neptune's opposing it. And what does that tell you? Well, that pretty much tells me something really, really important. And that is that we can't see it coming from some kind of leadership position, a ruler, because the sun does represent rulers. So a lot of people out there are probably thinking, oh my God, something's going to happen to Trump. But I don't think so. I think it's something more with a big, well, I mean, it could be that he has something to do with it, but something to do with attacks and war. And you can't see it coming. You cannot see it coming with Neptune aspecting the sun on this day. And really it's, you know, this whole week that we have these aspects in effect. And things are about to change. Now, with the sun in Virgo, it could be even something to do with health or healing. Why do I say that? Neptune can deal with disease, but things like that being triggered. I certainly hope it's nothing to do with biological warfare, because we've had enough of that. But Mars being in Libra and Pluto being in Capricorn. So many times Capricorn represents government. And Libra is also a sign that can deal with justice. Remember, Libra is the setting sun. Did you know that the symbol for Libra, the glyph, represents the setting sun because it's relative to the 7th house, which is where the sun is at sunset? So it means losing yourself, giving over, surrendering to others. That's what Libra, the sign, is. That's why it is a sign of relationships and peace. So Mars being in this sign, aspecting Pluto in the sign of government, Capricorn, can mean something like a surrender of sorts from an attack of sorts. And with Uranus being in Taurus, 7 degrees, this can deal definitely with the economy, some major shift in the economy. Why? Because Taurus rules money. But I will say this, 84 years ago, when Uranus was in Taurus, it takes 84 years to go through the whole zodiac. This was around the time of the bombing of Pearl Harbor. And going further, the end of World War II with the bombing of Hiroshima. So much happened with war while Uranus was in Taurus. And that's where we have it 84 years later. So I'm thinking blow-ups, extreme events around the area of war, but what eventually this will have to bring is peace. This is the hand of God. This is a critical, crucial time in our history. As humanity, things are going to change with all of these aspects happening. This is where endings occur that bring beginnings. Peace will come out of all of this, even though it's going to look pretty nasty for the time being. Mars square to Pluto can be devastating. I just hope it has nothing to do with nuclear energy. I'm praying it won't, but something is due to happen to clear the air for once and for all, because we're headed into a much better time. And people being so obstinate against each other in the world is definitely symbolic of a time where people will come together because they're being forced to. There's no recourse. The only way that we will heal is by coming together. And that's what I think the hand of God, the Yod, the finger of God, is doing to help us. Because we're not helping ourselves. We need the help from the divine. And that's what I think the astrology is trying to tell me. And to pass this message on to you, because it looks pretty dark, but it's going to get better. Thank God. We can see it in the stars, the guidance, the alignments. This is what it's telling us. So listen to the stars. They have an important message for us now. So with that, I think I'll close. If you would like more information on me, go to my website, galacticcenter.org. And remember, if you want to study with me, go to my university website, which is universityofvedicastrology.com. Thank you.